Hi everyone, this is Lynn Wilson at Lynn Wilson Originals, and I'm coming on today to show you a new product that I've discovered. And they are Efex flexible moldings. Say that 5 times fast. And this is what they look like. They are bendable, and they do not require heat to apply. They're handmade in Maine or New Zealand, and they're based on architectural details, historical architectural details. So something like this, or these scrolls are some things that you might see on antique furniture or in Europe. And I really like the style. It suits my style very well. And I like that I don't need heat to apply, because I've used products that you need heat to apply, and I don't have a heat gun. So this just takes one step out of that process. So I thought I'd show you this piece. I've already applied the molding to. And so I want to do the same thing on this piece here. So this is what it started out looking like, and it was a little bit too large. This little ball extended beyond my edge. And so I simply took a pair of scissors, these are super easy to cut, and cut it so that it would fit better. So the first step, after I cut it, I laid it out. This came in the piece on my other little end table, and it was one long roll. And so I cut the sizes that I needed. Then I cut the little tops off so that it would fit my space better. And these also are a little bit stretchy, so if I had to, I could stretch it out to make it a little bit longer, but it was really just the perfect amount for these two pieces. The next step that you want to do is trace your molding so you know where to place the glue. And so as I lean into it, this piece is painted in Dixie Belle's sandbar. It's kind of a light tan, and I've used both sandbar and burlap, and I think sandbar has just a cooler tone to it. Burlap has more of a yellow, underlying yellow tone. And so since I'm going to be I haven't painted this section of the table yet, it has 2 coats of Dixie Belle's Boss in white. These tables, when I got them, I had done a mid-century modern piece, and my husband's best friend his wife saw it on my Instagram account, Lynn Wilson Originals, and said, "Oh, you know what? We have 2 tables like that sitting in our garage. Do you want them?" And I was like, "Heck yes, I want them." Well, they got over here. They're not quite mid-century, and they had so many layers of paint on them. And I usually don't take pieces that have been previously painted, but because it was his friend, I did. And so it took me 2 days just to strip the paint off. A lot of times people ask me, what's my favorite stripper? And I like aircraft stripper. Rust-Oleum makes one, and it's pretty strong stuff. It's definitely not for those who don't like fumes or want to do everything on a more natural basis, but it works. And I have that listed in my Amazon shop if you're interested in refinishing furniture. So I've just about got this outlined. And the kind of glue that you use is this DAP. I mean, you could probably use some other kind too, but it's contact cement, and you have to kind of differentiate between rubber cement and contact cement. It's not the same thing. This is much stronger. It's not like the fun rubber cement that you used when you were in grade school and can make the little rubber balls out of. And it does have some fumes, but nothing worse than if you've used shellac or a poly. And I really wanted to get the smaller size. It comes with a little brush right attached to what you screw in to close it, but they didn't have it at my Ace Hardware, and I wanted to get started on this project. So I'm just applying it with this like artist brush, and it's stiff. So I'm gonna just paint into where I made my outline, and I'm fairly generous with the glue. Again, you're going to be painting over this, so you're going to get rid of, you're not going to see your pencil marks when you're done. And this morning I came down, and the other piece that I had done, there were a few places at the top and the bottom where I didn't quite get the molding affixed, and so I just went back this morning and put a little more glue on, and sure enough I could just get it to reattach. And let's see, here's my molding. I had to move it out of the way. I probably should have done this. Let's see. Moved it out of dog reach, because here are the pieces that the dog got. And so now I'm just gonna put this on the back of the molding as well. I was really excited to find this product. There's not a lot of options on the market for molding. I've gone to Lowe's before thinking, well, maybe I could get some kind of a trim, like a wall trim. But the nice thing about this too is that you can cut it so easily. And I will have an affiliate link for this product, which I can put in the comments probably later today. And the glue says to let it dry for 15 minutes. I think I did about 10. It just has to start to feel tacky. So while that dries, I'll show you some of the other products that they sell. So they do scrolls. This is a scroll. And you get 2 of them in the package. I mean, the pediments are amazing. Like if you want to put this on the front of, say, a table. This one has sort of an Art Deco look to it. And then there are a lot of trims. That's like what I'm applying right now is a trim. And then this is a trim as well. And it is a Greek scroll. So it's pretty cool how it comes out. And this is the length that you get. And I had thought about using this one on this piece. But I was going to have to either cut or fold over these 2 edges to make it fit. And there's also corners, and you get, 2 in a package. Now this, I got this and I'm like, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with it. And then I decided I'm gonna make it into a Christmas tree ornament. You can just, let me open it up here. You can just run a needle through this, and there's your how you hang it, and I'm gonna paint it, and then I'm gonna maybe decoupage a photo in this section. And I have an antique secretary of my own that I've been wanting to redo, and I'm gonna put this on the drop down section. So let me check my glue. It's still not super tacky yet. Let me check this. So this is pretty tacky. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot because I want to be able to demonstrate this. So it sticks very quickly. When I did it the other day, I had to kind of make sure I had everything aligned before I let it, so you can see it's already sticking. Make sure I get the top. The challenge with this piece is, like I said, it's a little bit bigger, and so the swag is a little bit bigger than the area. So I'm trying to make sure that I get it as close as I can to the top and bottom edge. And when I came down this morning, what was not affixed was some of these little bottom pieces here didn't stick, and that's because I didn't push them down. You really want to make sure you get your edges. And that's a difference that I found in this versus some of the other products that I've used. It's easier to get it to really lie flat. And here I'm a little bit further over, so because it's rubber, I can just kind of smush it up a little bit. So I'm gonna go back and put a little bit more glue under my table so I can wrap these under. But it really made a huge difference. When I got the tables, I was like, gosh, they're so plain. I really don't know what to do with them. But by putting this on, it gives it, to me, it gives me kind of a European look. And so now I'm going to go with sort of a French theme. I'm going to put some French lettering stencils on here. And again, this probably needs to sit for a minute before it's tacky enough to wrap under. And I just rinsed my brush out. I put a little bit of turpentine in a plastic cup and cleaned my brush that way. And I think this would be a lot stickier if I had given it the full 15 minutes that is recommended. Definitely sticking to my fingers. So while that is drying, I'm going to bring over the other table and start painting. So again, this is the paint that I'm using. It's Dixie Belle Sandbar. And my favorite brush, my Dixie Belle Angled Mini. So I'll just mist my brush. Don't want it soaking wet. Give my paint a stir. And you can actually add a little water to your paint if you want it thinner. I don't, but because I want to make sure I get really good coverage. But if it starts to feel too thick, it's water-based, so you can just add a little water. Oh, this is covered. I was wondering how it would cover the plastic perfectly. No problem at all. And I'm covering up my drawing lines. Something like this, anything with texture is helpful because to create visual interest on your piece, because then you can go back, either dry brush or add a glaze or colored waxes to make it that detail pop. And you can see this is a pretty plain piece of furniture. And where I thought about doing the Grecian scrolls was right through here, but I thought, you know, I'm always making life hard for myself. I would have to get it completely centered and then, you know, wrap the edges around, and a lot of times your furniture is not even. So as I was wrapping around, I realized this line was not straight, so I decided against that. So I've already put 2 coats underneath on the bottom part of this piece of this table. When I start painting, I always start by painting with my piece upside down so I can get the legs really well, and then I flip it up to do my second coat. And when you're doing your first coat, gosh, when I first started painting, it would take me forever to get a first coat of paint down. I was so meticulous. I'd be like, oh, you know, want to make sure it's perfect. You're gonna do 2 coats. So the first coat, you really just want to get some paint on there. Coverage doesn't have to be even. And when I first started painting, somebody told me, oh, don't do back and forth brush strokes, just go one direction. Well, particularly with these synthetic brushes, back and forth is fine. I really like a synthetic brush though. It makes a huge difference. When I first started painting, I was using, it was popular back then to use the natural bristle, and they were big round brushes. Like I remember I had a Martha Stewart chalk paint brush, and it was really large round natural bristles, and it got so clogged down with paint, and those natural bristles definitely show your brush strokes more than these synthetics. So then I moved on to Purdy. That was my next, my next was the Wooster, and it was I think it was called the Wooster Shorty, and it worked much better than the natural bristles, but I still wanted something with a smoother finish. So I tried Purdy's. They have a pro line. They sell Wooster and Purdy at like Lowe's or Amazon, and I really liked the Wooster or the Purdy Pro line. And my husband paints houses, and he'll use that a lot for trim. And finally, I broke down and tried one of the Dixie Belle synthetics, and I haven't gone back. They last a long time. They're a little bit more expensive, but they last a lot longer as long as you take care of them. I keep a little container of water on my workbench so that if I'm going to stop painting for a while, I just put it into the water if I don't have time or don't want to stop to clean it. And then I use a flea comb when I'm washing my brushes. I use just Dawn or some sort of a soap, dish soap, squirt it on it, go back and forth, and then I take a flea comb and I run a flea comb over it to try to really get the paint off. We have horses, and I have glycerin soap for my saddles. Sometimes I'll run it over the glycerin soap, and that seems to work pretty well too. I'm excited about this product. I like that I don't have to heat it up or steam it. It makes it easier to apply. And I like that it's a little bit stretchy too. Plus I grew up in Vermont and it's made in Maine. It's made in New Zealand and in Maine, but whenever I can support a New England company, I try to do so. Okay. Well, let's look at our other piece now. So it is, I'm being able to wrap these little ends under, and they're sticking now. And again, I'm going to try to really push these edges down because I don't want to see any gaps. But it looks more realistic when it's flush. So let's try to get some paint on there. The wood is definitely nice on these pieces. They're fairly heavy. There's no markings as to who manufactured them. But I do remember having similar pieces in my home growing up as a kid. I think a lot of people had this style in their living room, holding the TV guide. Now it would hold your remote. Back then we didn't have a remote. You actually had to get up to change the channel. So there's some divots in here. I don't know if you can see that. Right in here. In here, what I'll do is I'll put some Dixie Belle mud, fill them in. They didn't show up as much before I hit them with paint, and that's how it is a lot of times. Once you put paint on something, things show up more. So I will let these dry. I hope that was helpful. And again, these moldings, they're flexible. They're by Efex, E-F-E-X. And give them a try. I love them. So thanks a lot. Hope you have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.